I want to talk about the counteroffensive of the Ukraine army, which will be carried out in unnamed place because this is obviously classified information. The military operation was announced by the leadership of the Ukraine army. General Zaluzhny said the Ukrainian army had prepared a counterattack. I don't know, usually in such cases, for example tonight, the Russian command and leadership of the DPR don't announce this in advance. Any military man will tell you that spreading their words about an offensive hurts that offensive. But since Mr. Zaluzhny is confident in the offensive and he's ready to launch it, I decided to ask people in different parts of Ukraine what they know about this counterattack. It turned out that the inhabitants of Ukraine not know a lot. For example, the inhabitants of Melitopol, who have long been under the control of the new government, the military civilian administration of Zaporozhye region. Here, Ukrainian patriots are sure that the offensive of the Ukraine army will begin at them. Allegedly, significant forces are approaching from Donetsk. They have already approached south of Zaporozhye, and in near future a large-scale offensive will begin, which will sweep away the Russian army to the Sea of Azov. And the governor of Kiev says, the inhabitants of Kherson wait us, we will come soon. Apparently, the governor hints to the residents of Kherson that the offensive of the Ukraine army will be here in south. And residents of the Chernigov region in northern Ukraine, as people told me, consider the following to be the main problem. In the near future, the counterattack of the Ukraine army will begin. The Russian army will run back to Russia and blow up all their houses. This is what really worries them today. If the Russian army doesn't blow it up, then the Ukrainian artillery will do it during the offensive. And when I listened to all this nonsense, I caught myself thinking. When I studied the history of the Second World War in 1945, the Germans fought desperately on the Oder, then returned Berlin. Then, in the encircled Berlin, they told each other that they had to hold out a little more, and soon the Wang army would come and deblock Berlin. All this was done in order to prolong the agony of the regime. And what's happened today in Ukraine, including the counterattacks of the Ukraine army announced in the media, but invisible in reality. All this is reminiscent of the agony of Nazi Germany. Having a this problem on the fronts, the country's leadership is struggling to convince the population of an early victory. No, of course I could be wrong, and tomorrow we will know about a powerful counteroffensive of the Ukrainian army, which I will definitely tell you about, but so far it's not visible. Even from a military point of view, if you attack Melitopol from Zaporozhye, from north to south, all major bridges have been blown up, and gasoline is also needed. Where can you get that amount of fuel? This is a big problem. Okay, you found it. It's necessary to create pontoon crossing, which the Ukraine army don't have. But this is not the most important thing. It's necessary to cover more than 100 kilometers with the complete superiority of Russian aviation in air. You can imagine that the Ukrainian army could make such a march. I can't. I think any military man will tell you that this is similar to the fairy tales that were told to the Germans in surrounded Berlin about Wang's army, which was defeated a long time ago, but they were waiting for it in Berlin.